Hello, Richmond High School students and staff. We are here today to celebrate not only one of my heroes, but a hero to millions of people. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., an American activist and prominent leader in the civil rights movement of the 1960s, is best known for his role in the advancement of social justice and equality for everyone using nonviolent methods. Dr. King's life's mission was to make a difference and to change the world by serving others, by treating all people, every human being, with respect and dignity as a priority. As we honor and celebrate Martin Luther King today at RHS, may we all be reminded of his great dream, a dream of a vibrant, multiracial nation, united in social justice, peace and nonviolence, love and forgiveness. A nation that doesn't judge you by the color of your skin, but by the content of your character. Monday is the national holiday celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King. Today, our radio TV is presenting this program, but in the spirit of Dr. King, who believed that life's most persistent and urgent question was, what are you doing for others? I want us to ask ourselves, what are we doing for others? And I ask that you all celebrate this holiday on Monday by finding a way to serve others. Thank you.
Born and raised in the early 1950s, Gene Hambrick grew up in the heart of Black Atlanta, Georgia. As a child, he attended the same segregated elementary schools as Dr. Martin Luther King's children. He attended segregated blacks-only schools through 9th grade and the 10th grade. Transferred to the Mirror School, a private Catholic, all-boy military academy prep school. Mr. Hambrick was in the second ever black group of students allowed in the school. After graduating in 1969, he came to Earlham College where he earned a bachelor's degree in sociology. Later, he would go on to earn his MBA from the University of Virginia. Mr. Hambrick is now a successful businessman, consultant, educator, fundraiser, volunteer, and more. He's worked and served all over the world, including Africa, Asia, Latin American, and here at home in the U.S. He currently is the Senior Executive Director for Earlham Center for Entrepreneurship, Innovation, and Creativity. He also serves as the Executive in Residence teaching in the Earlham Global Management Program. Please welcome Mr. Gene Hambrick.
First, thank you for this invitation to address the Richmond High School community on this 2024 Martin Luther King Jr. holiday observance. It is a real honor for me to be here. For this brief talk, I will focus on two topics: the Martin Luther King holiday observance, a celebration, and the Martin Luther King Day, a call to action. First, a celebration. This holiday goes beyond Martin Luther King the man. It is a celebration of his vision and the resilience of Black folks in America and around the world. Some of you will recognize the song "Lift Every Voice and Sing" by James Weldon Johnson. This song gives people hope and gets folks inspired to continue to fight against injustice. As the first verse goes, lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty, let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. We as a people are making progress, but every single day we see that there are threats and forces attempting to push us back. Most of you know the term woke. before this term was in the popular press, Martin Luther King was woke. So what is woke? From the Merriam-Webster dictionary, woke is defined as aware and actively attentive to important societal facts and issues, especially issues of racial and social justice. As Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Just take a look around today, locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. The world is a ball of confusion. I want you to reflect on Martin's words and the lyrics from the Temptation song, Ball of Confusion. People moving out, people moving in. Why? Because of the color of their skin. Run, 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 but you sure can't hide. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Vote for me and I'll set you free. Rap on, brother, rap on. Well, the only person talking about love thy brother is the preacher. And it seems nobody's interested in learning but the teacher. Segregation, determination, demonstration, integration, aggravation, humiliation, obligation to our nation, ball of confusion. Oh yeah, that's what the world is today. As Arsenio Hall would say, Richmond High School call to action. Martin Luther King Jr. said, we must learn that passively to accept an unjust system is to cooperate with that system and thereby to become a participant in its evil. For those of you that are already woke, you need to continue to speak up and act up. For those of you that are evolving to wokeness, if not you, who, and if not now, when? On this remembrance, we need to show leadership. During my research for this talk, there are several ways that Martin Luther King Jr. demonstrated leadership. For this brief talk, I want to highlight just one. From an article by Michael Hyatt, he noted that Martin Luther King refused to settle vis-a-vis the status quo. A quote from Martin Luther King says, life's most persistent and urgent questions is, what are you doing for others? One answer could come from a song by Diana Ross, Reach Out and Touch Somebody's Hand. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can. In celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life and visions, let's reach out and make this world a better place. Again, thank you for this opportunity to share my thoughts. Go Richmond High School, go Red Devils.
It took 32 years to recognize Martin Luther King Jr. and the works he did with the national holiday. King was born on January 15th in 1929, which is why the holiday is celebrated on the third Monday in January. But why do we celebrate his life? We honor his legacy, his fight for civil rights, and his call for change and for people to join in doing public service. This was his fight, this was his dream. The fight to honor Dr. King started in 1968 when Representative John Conyers introduced a motion in Congress to make his birthday a national holiday. This was only 4 days after King had been assassinated. It took another 11 years before Congress actually voted on the measure in 1979. There had been a large groundswell of support from groups like the King Center, members of Congress, and even the President, Jimmy Carter, but still it fell short by only 5 votes. Supporters of the holiday, including performers such as Stevie Wonder, pushed forward. In 1983, Coretta Scott King presented a petition with over 6 million people's signatures to Congress. The petition, along with a march through Washington, D.C. with over 500,000 people, finally convinced Congress to again take up a vote. This time it passed in the House of Representatives by over 50 votes, but the Senate wouldn't be as easy. Senator Jesse Helms from North Carolina tried to kill the bill by introducing a filibuster with a 400-page document accusing King of being a communist. Other senators were outraged by Helms' actions, and despite his efforts, the bill passed the Senate by 12 votes. President Ronald Reagan then signed it into law in November of 1983, officially making it a holiday. Still, some states refused to recognize it, and only 17 states honored it by 1986. In 1990, one of the last states to recognize the holiday was Arizona, and when the vote there failed again, the NFL threatened to move the 1993 Super Bowl from Tempe, Arizona. After another vote, it failed again, and the NFL made good on its threat, moving the Super Bowl to Southern California.
I must close now, but before closing, I am impelled to mention one other point in your statement that troubled me profoundly. You warmly commended the Birmingham police force for keeping order and preventing violence. I don't believe you would have so warmly commended the police force if you had seen its angry, violent dogs literally biting 6 unarmed, non-violent Negroes. I don't believe you would so quickly commend the policemen if you would observe the ugly and inhuman treatment of Negroes here in the city jail. If you would watch them push and curse old Negro women and young Negro girls, if you would see them slap and kick old Negro men and young boys, if you would observe them, as they did on 2 occasions, refusing to give us food because we wanted to sing our grace together, I'm sorry that I can't join you in your praise for the police department. It is true that they have been rather disciplined in their public handling of the demonstrators. In this sense, they have been publicly nonviolent.
It is true that they have been rather disciplined in their public handling of the demonstrators. In this sense, they have been publicly nonviolent. But for what purpose? To preserve the evil system of segregation. Over the last few years, I have consistently preached that the nonviolence demands that the means we use must be as pure as the ends we seek. So I have tried to make it clear that it is wrong to use immoral means to attain moral ends. But now I must affirm that it is just as wrong, or even more, to use moral means to preserve immoral ends.
I wish you had commended the Negro demonstrators of Birmingham for their sublime courage, their willingness to suffer, and their amazing discipline in the midst of the most inhuman provocation. One day, the South will recognize its real heroes. They will be the James Merediths, courageously and with a majestic sense of purpose, facing jeering and hostile mobs and antagonizing loneliness that characterizes the life of a pioneer. They will be old, oppressed, battered Negro women symbolized in a 72-year-old woman of Montgomery, Alabama, who rose up with a sense of dignity and with her people decided not to ride the segregated bus, and responded to one who inquired about her tiredness and ungrammatically profanity. My feet is tired and my soul is rested. There will be young high school and college students, young ministers of gospel, and a host of their elders courageously and nonviolently sitting at lunch counters and willingly going to jail for conscience sake. One day the South will know that when these disinherited children of God sat down at lunch counters, they were in reality standing up for the best American dream and the most sacred values of our Judeo-Christian heritage.
As we close our program today, we want to remind you one more time, in the words of Dr. King, what are you doing for others?